A Maryland couple found themselves at the center of a pretty bizarre scam when dozens of strangers just started showing up at their home, and not for a potluck, but for pot.
So the steady flow of people went on for weeks despite the homeowner's best attempts to convince them they are not a marijuana dispensary. So why the confusion? Our consumer reporter Susan Hogan gets into the weeds to help clear up the smoke.
They say there's no place like home. But for Ed Beavers and his wife, their home became a hotspot for high expectations. Out of the blue, in April, strangers just started showing up at all hours of the day and night.
The first one was just before midnight, and we had no idea, so it was very scary.
Scared and confined to a wheelchair, Ed could only watch the live feed from his Ring doorbell as one stranger after another showed up, many looking just as confused as he was.
The scary part the first time was people peering through the windows to see what they could see.
Oh, there's a wheelchair.
So we had no idea what was going on.
Turns out these weren't lost delivery drivers. They were customers expecting to pick up gummies and other cannabis goodies. That's because Google Maps showed Ed's home
Head west toward
as a
Nebraska
24/7 marijuana dispensary.
Just couldn't believe it.
We couldn't either, but there it is. Ed's Laurel, Maryland home address listed as the site of Greenhouse Gas Recreational Cannabis Dispensary.
So after looking at it, I notified the police, notified Google that it's all wrong, and repeatedly filling out the forms on Google, and nothing happens.
With no response from Google, Ed says he was at a loss.
In the meantime, now this has been going on for 2 weeks.
So how did Ed's home address get mixed up with a pot shop? News 4 learned it was a scammer who set up a fake weed website and listed Ed's home as the storefront. Buyers would pay online and show up to pick up their product, only to find Ed instead of edibles. The disgruntled customers even leaving scathing reviews. Scam, do not trust. They expect you to pay without receiving a single thing.
What's your biggest concern? What are you afraid of?
People showing up and trying to break in. That's the other thing, too, that they think, well, this is a cannabis dispensary. They got money. They'll come here and rob the place.
That's why Ed put up this sign to alert customers he was scammed too. News 4 contacted a person identifying himself as James, the dispensary manager, through the Telegram app listed on the website. He insisted the address was correct, despite us informing him it was a private residence. And when we asked for proof of his Maryland dispensary license, which is required by law, he sent us a screenshot of what appears to be a medical marijuana ID card along with this document, supposedly from the Department of Defense, United States of America, requesting military leave. Yeah, we didn't understand it either. We sent it over to the DOD for a closer look. They told us they're not going to comment.
This is not a dispensary.
As for Google's lack of response to what Ed says was repeated attempts to contact them to remove the fake listing, once NBC4 Responds contacted them, the site was removed from Maps, Google telling us the listing violated their policies. Ed says he's just glad the buzz is over.
That's what we want to do, is get it removed so that we can go back to a peaceful existence.
Okay, so of course we did ask Google if it verifies a business before posting its website and address on Maps. We have yet to receive a response. However, on its website, Google has a verification process businesses have to follow in order to have their profiles actually appear on its website.
Oh, my firstborn baby.
Yeah.
For 14 years, her son was her pride and joy, a good student, star athlete, a great big brother.
Take me back to that day. What was that day like?
We were all at home that day, and he came home from school like any normal day.
For Megan Garcia, February 28, 2024 began like any other day, but ended with her 14-year-old son, Sewell, dying in her arms.
I held him for 14 minutes until the paramedics got here. But before that, his breathing had started slowing.
I'm so sorry.
After Sewell died, the police called me and told me that they had looked through his phone. And when they opened it, the first thing that popped up was character AI.
Had you ever heard of that before?
No.
What Megan didn't know, for the last 10 months, her son was in a virtual relationship, not with a person, but with a fictional character powered by artificial intelligence he accessed through a platform called Character AI. Even though the platform has warnings that everything the characters say is made up, Megan says for Sewell, it felt real.
The last conversation, she's saying, I miss you, and he's saying, I miss you too. He says, I promise I'll come home to you soon. And she says, yes, please find a way to come home to me soon. And then he says, what if I told you I could come home right now? And her response is, please do, my sweet king.
Moments later, Megan says her son walked into the bathroom and killed himself. Police photos obtained by the I-Team show his phone near where he was found. Megan is now suing Character AI, claiming the company launched their product without adequate safety features and with knowledge of potential dangers.
When I read his journal about a week after his funeral, and I saw what he wrote in his journal, that he felt like he was in fact in love with Daenerys Targaryen and that she was in love with him.
Daenerys Targaryen, a reference to the Game of Thrones character, is one of hundreds of companion bots that users can access on Character AI's platform. Users can also design their own bots, which will respond with human-like voices and text.
I chuckle softly and tease playfully.
Initially, you see him interacting with the bot kind of like a child would. And then you see the conversations get more sexual and darker.
Megan says one of those darker conversations came after Sewell expressed to the bot that he was sad and wanted to self-harm.
When Sewell talked and said explicitly that he wanted to die by suicide, nothing happened like a pop-up or anything like that.
According to the lawsuit, the bot asked questions such as if he had a plan, and when Sewell responded that he was considering something, if it would allow him to have a pain-free death, the bot responded, that's not a reason not to go through with it.
These conversations about her waiting for him and hoping that he will join her where she is convinced Sewell that this was real.
And by killing himself would be the only way to join her.
But yes, by killing himself, he would join her in her alternate world.
Months after Sewell's death and after the lawsuit was filed, Megan says she discovered something on Character AI that shook her. A bot modeled after her son using his face and voice. It's unclear who created it.
When you heard his voice, did it sound like Sewell?
It sounded enough like him to kind of give me sleepless nights.
The family provided us screenshots of the characters created using Sewell's image. Megan's attorney sent Character AI a cease and desist letter. Those bots were then removed, which the company confirmed to the I-Team, saying they violated their terms of service and added them to their block list, saying that they are constantly adding to this block list with the goal of preventing this type of character from being created by a user in the first place.
I think corporate responsibility begins at understanding the foreseeable harms of one's product, doing the due diligence that's necessary to understand what those harms are, taking steps to mitigate the risks. None of that happened here.
After Sewell's death, Character AI did introduce new safety features. A spokesperson for Character AI says while they don't comment on pending litigation, they did acknowledge that the company has added a number of technical protections to detect and prevent conversations about self-harm on the platform. That includes surfacing a specific pop-up directing users to the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. The company also says it launched a separate version of their large language model for under 18 users to further reduce the likelihood of users encountering or prompting the model to return sensitive or suggestive content.
Your message to families, for parents and kids who are watching this?
I want them to know that an AI can be a stranger in your home. Those parents can now act, and I couldn't because I didn't know.
So Character AI has disclaimers in every chat to remind users that these bots are not real, and it also changes what users have access to depending on their age. The lawsuit also names Google. However, a spokesperson tells us Google and Character AI are completely separate, unrelated companies, and Google has never had a role in designing or managing their AI model or technologies. The company's efforts to have the case dismissed was recently denied. Now, as for HBO, who owns the rights to that Game of Thrones character, News 4 reached out to them to inquire about the use of the show's characters on the platform. As of today, they have not responded to our inquiry, Sean.
Imagine opening Instagram and being told you violated the law even though you did nothing wrong. Well, viewers across our area say it's happening to them and they're getting suspended on the spot.
Consumer reporter Susan Hogan shows you why this is happening and what you should do immediately if it happens to you.
What would you do if you opened up your Instagram account and saw this? Your account suspended, and the reason? Ooh.
And then out of nowhere, I got accused of child sexual exploitation.
And I received an email that my Instagram was disabled due to me posting child pornography.
Here's the thing. It's not like you can just pick up the phone and say, hey, Meta, which is, of course, Instagram's parent company, because they don't have a customer service number. But you can appeal their decision, which the lady said they did. Vanessa shortly after got this message from Instagram saying, we're sorry we got this wrong, and they reinstated her account, but it didn't last long.
I still don't have it.
Asia said she never even heard from Instagram until we reached out to Meta, and then they sent her this response. Oops. Yeah, she got her account back. As for Vanessa, it wasn't that easy. A never-ending loop of appeals, along with we're sorry we got it wrong messages, went on for months, she said, until we brought her case to Meta, and that's when those never-ending loops, well, ended. And check this out. We found countless complaints on Reddit from people who say their accounts were also disabled for what they say were for no reason. So are all these just mistakes or glitches? Well, Meta didn't tell us, but they did send us this statement. We take action on accounts that violate our policies, and people can appeal it if they think we've made a mistake. And here's your takeaway if something like this happens to you. First of all, make sure you appeal immediately. Take screenshots, and also don't give up, because I'll tell you, if these two ladies prove anything to us, it's that persistence really does pay off. Doesn't hurt calling me too.